Welcome to supplemental practice for Locomotion Lab. This practice is heavy in asana or postural yoga, and we'll be exploring some dynamic movements, big hip openers, and trying our hands out at a certain arm balance that I find really liberating and really fun to practice. To begin the practice, you can come to lie down on your back. And then orient the breath to the side body. Particularly the rib cage, expanding outward when you breathe in and inward when you breathe out. And then a little trick for breathing into your back body, give yourself a hug. So you actually spread the blades of your shoulders away from each other. And then can you direct that breath to the point that's between the shoulder blades? So it goes high into the upper back. And as you're breathing out, can you allow for like a narrowing of the torso? So you could think of it as like if you've ever held like a, I don't know, like a round sponge, one of those natural sponges, and you wrap your hand around it and you give it a little squeeze. And it gets more compact. So think of your exhalations as like giving yourself a little squeeze all the way around your body until you've emptied out. If you're still hugging yourself, you can open your arms, let them rest. And then adjust so your rib cage is pressing into the ground, the back side of it. Lift your right knee up so it's a half tabletop. Right leg is on a 90-degree bend. Tuck your chin a little bit. Bring your left hand against the inside of your right knee. And push your knee into your hand and your hand into your knee. And can you wake up on a diagonal from the left shoulder across the abdomen to the outside of your right hip? Can you feel that line? I think I've called it a sash in the past. Or like if you wear a crossbody bag, you know what I'm talking about. And how it crosses along the front of the body, from the shoulder to the hip. One more breath with that diagonal from left shoulder to right hip. And then release right leg, release left hand, left arm. Switch sides, left knee bends to 90, hand against inner knee. Push, so it's equal but opposing force happening. And waking up from right shoulder to outer left hip. So you've decided to wear your crossbody bag the other way. Which is a good idea, people, if you do wear crossbody bags, to switch them every now and again. One more breath, right shoulder across the abdomen to outer left hip. And then release, hand away from inner knee. Then stretch your left leg long, bring your right knee back to the 90-degree angle. Flex the ankle, knee is already flexed because it's bent, and start to externally rotate, almost like you're trying to create a right leg that's pigeon. So the knee rotates out to the side, the heel pulls into the midline, and then go back to neutral or straight. So just feeling what kind of external rotation can I create without having to grab my leg, without having to pull it in, just doing it in an active way. Then go back to a neutral position with that. Straighten the leg, heel presses up to the ceiling. Slowly lower your leg to the floor and allow it to land. Keep it active. Bring your left knee in towards you. Do the same thing, that kind of swiveling out with the knee and then back so it's more centered. So the foot is awake, the ankle is awake, and you're moving from inside of your left hip when you do this. Bring it back centered, stretch it up, reach the heel for a moment, and then slowly lower the leg. Keep it active as you lower it, even as you land it. Bring your right knee in again, create the external rotation. Now bend your left knee and hook the right ankle against the lower left thigh. So you're creating an active figure 4. Take a few breaths here. And if you have a little shaking going on, right, it's working. Then interlace, thread around, and create a more passive figure 4. So you're wrapped around the back of your left thigh and pulling both legs towards you. Add to this a little bit of rocking side to side, kind of like we do when we take Happy Baby. Check in with your chin, that it's still tucked down more towards your chest. Then find center, release the interlace, release left foot, uncross right ankle. Go to straight, strong legs again. Rib cage down, chin tucked, bring the left knee in. Create your external. Then raise your right leg to 90 so you get ankle hooked to lower thigh. And work this figure 4 in a more active hold. And then thread through, thread around, and you give yourself a little help as you pull the leg in towards you. Add your rocking, just a gentle, like tick-tock, side to side. Then find center, release right foot, release the interlace, uncross the left ankle. Now right arm overhead, roll onto your right side. And from there, come up to cross-legged seat, now that we've created a little space down in the hips. Close your eyes, but bring your hands to the rib cage. So you're holding your rib cage, elbows out to the side, like you got a little bit of tude. And adjusting the rib cage so it's over the top rim of your pelvis and breathing in and out. Feeling expansion and contraction. And can you feel how at the bottom of your exhalation, your abdominal muscles have wrapped? They've wrapped around the trunk and they've firmed in. But then you let them go as you inhale and allow yourself to expand. And then when you narrow, there's a feeling of engagement of them. And remember this feeling as we move through the practice. Make your way to tabletop, hands and knees. So get it all lined up, right? You know, stacking the joints, how we always do. Press the tops of your feet down into the yoga mat. Draw the rib cage slightly up so there's a broadening in the upper back and along the low waistline. And then maintain that broadening in the upper back. Bring your right arm out to the side, bend the elbow, catch the back of your head. And notice when you grab the back of your head, the head wants to be pushed down, but you're going to lift the base of your skull up into your hand. And then do a little bit of opening and closing. So inhale, open. And exhale, go back to where your chest is just pointing to the floor. Do it again. Inhale, open. And exhale, close, and bring your right elbow underneath you towards your forearm, but don't let it touch. Only go about halfway. And then inhale, open again. And now when you exhale, can you bring your right elbow to touch the inner left forearm? Let's do that again. So it's like thirds. Inhale, open. Exhale, chest just to the ground. Again, breathing in, open wide. Exhale, come under with the elbow, but only about halfway, like right beneath your nose. And then inhale, open again. And exhale, go all the way across, so you're tapping the elbow to the inside of your forearm. Come back to elbow winging out to the side, and then release your right hand underneath your right shoulder. Switch to the left, reach out like a T, bend the elbow, catch the head, lift the head into the hand, and we're only going a third with the first one. Inhale, open. Exhale, chest to ground. Inhale, open again. Exhale, elbow towards the center, like right beneath your eye gaze. Inhale. Exhale, wrap around yourself, tap the elbow to the inside of your right forearm. And then one more round like that, opening, closing just a third of the way. Opening, closing just about halfway. And then opening and connecting elbow to the forearm. Come back to elbow wide. Reach the arm to the side, release the hand underneath you. And then walk your hands over to the right. So an asymmetrical tabletop where you're side bent. And we've never done this, but we're going to try it. Asymmetrical bird dog. Inhale, right arm, left leg. Exhale, place those things back to the floor. It's going to be wobbly. Again, breathe in, right arm reaches away from left leg. Exhale, right hand grounds, left knee to the ground. Keep going. Right, so trying to find some stability in the instability. And it feels like the timing's way off, but see if you can let the hand and knee land at the same time. So this is like a new skill we're learning. And after a few classes, we'll all have it down pat. And come through the center, switch it over to the left. So now we're going left arm, right leg, and back down. So you gotta hug your guts a little here. If it feels choppy and super weird, that's okay. It'll smooth out. Last one. Left arm, right leg, reach away. Can you land the hand and the knee together? Come all the way back to center. Now that we've got the shoulders warmed up, place your hands for your downward dog. Walk your knees back a bit. Tuck toes, lift up, press back. And can you feel the warmth or the openness in the upper back? From that work, that asymmetrical twisting, that asymmetrical side bend, breathe here. And transfer the weight of your down dog into the legs. So there's a pushing back that happens, and that can be done with straight legs or bent knees. And take full breath all the way in. Use your exhale to bring your feet forward to your hands, any way you'd like. Go into passive ragdoll, knees bent, hang. Let go in the shoulders, let go in the neck, let go in the jaw. And coming back to the breath, like the expanding sponge. And then the emptying out of the sponge. And stay in your forward fold with your knees bent and your head hanging. And reach your arms back behind you. So they are parallel or horizontal to the floor. And then start to charge the crown of your head forward. So there'll be a lengthening of your upper back as your fingertips reach down, just like we do in Tadasana. Then use inhale to unhinge and come all the way up to standing. Palms face forward, step into your mountain. So if your feet at hips distance is not the way you like it, then bring your feet in closer. And Surya Namaskar C, that's how we're going to create some more heat. Exhale everything. Inhale, reach the arms, lift the eyes, stay strong in the legs. Exhale, cast out and over, forward and downward. Then inhale, lengthen. Exhale, left leg back and knee to the ground. Breathe in, reach up, low crescent. Exhale, downward dog, hands touch and step back. Dynamic. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower, knees first on this first one. Root the legs, press pelvis. Inhale, free up the spine, cobra. Exhale, tuck toes, hips raise, back into downward facing dog. Weight the legs, breathe. Keep pelvis as level as possible. Inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, step forward, right knee to the ground. Breathe in, reach up. Exhale, touch floor. Feel the length of your spine here, then inhale, step forward. You're already half lifted. Exhale, fold. Inhale, raise the arms, rise again. And exhale, return to Tadasana, mountain pose. Again, inhale, lift. Exhale, cast out and over and down. Lengthen with this inhale. Then right leg back, knee to the floor. So we're changing the legs. Inhale, reach up. Your exhale takes you all the way to down dog. Find it. Plank pose, breathe in. Chaturanga or knees first, come down. Cobra or up dog. Use the legs to free the spine. Exhale, hips back, downward facing. Weight the legs, breathe your breath. And keeping level through the pelvis. Inhale and raise the right leg. Exhaling, right foot forward, left knee to the ground. Breathe in, reach up, crescent. Exhale, just touch the floor. Feel the length of spine. Inhale, step forward, keep the length. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise again, reach the arms. And exhale back to mountain pose. And then bow forward, catch your big toes. You may want to widen your feet for this. So if you're in a narrow Tadasana, open up so you're in hips distance. Knees can be bent or legs can be straight. Inhale, lengthen. So use pulling on the toes to traction the spine in its forward elongation. And as you exhale, like hollow the belly, the sponge empties and folds over your legs. Breathing here. Hand to big toe. And lean the weight of your hips forward so they're more over your heels than behind your heels. And use in-breath to lengthen, arms straighten, toes get tugged up on a little bit. Exhale, hands to ground. Find your way back to downward dog now that we've lengthened the back side of the legs that way. See if you can weight your legs in downward dog. Then take a breath in with pelvis level, right leg goes up. So you're extending from your hip. Point your toes here with your leg up. And can you reach from your butt crease, you know what I'm talking about, under the butt cheek, out through the big toe. So you're firing that line. Now bring the knee underneath you. Step your right foot forward between your hands. Draw the muscles of the pelvis into the pelvis, so this gathering around. And then bring yourself to high lunge. You can take hands to front thigh to get there, or you can just raise. And notice if you're in an exquisite back bend. If you are, come out of it. So take your arms forward. I like this work. Arms forward. Push your arms forward like you're pressing into a wall and draw your rib cage back. So as you push into the wall, the rib cage moves back, then re-reach. Right? So you got your canister aligned. And bring the whole thing forward to touch ground through fingertips. Turn your back foot all the way down so it lines up with the short side of your mat back there. See that you haven't lost your lunge in your front leg. Start with right elbow, left thigh, left hand, left hip, creating extended side angle. Hover your bottom elbow so that you're holding this pose with your hip. Then lightly land the elbow so it's like just an accessory. Top arm extends over. You could stay like that or vary with hand to the floor, in or outside of right foot. But the hips holding you together. Then eyes look down as we get ready to transition. Inhale to standing, straighten the front leg on the way. Pull back through your back arm a little so the weight of your shoulders shifts directly over the pelvis, and then come down, warrior two. Straighten through the right leg, hands to hips, all 10 toes face the same direction, so there's a pivoting. Inhale, chest and eyes lift. Exhale, fold hands to the floor. Then press hands, use that as traction, straighten arms, inhale, lengthen again. And exhale as you empty the sponge, fold over, crown of the head in the direction of the floor. Maybe it touches for some of you. Pelvis over the feet, so there's that vertical type line. Inhale, lengthen, press into the hands. Exhale, pivot towards the front of your yoga mat. Okay, back into lunging, and then a heel toeing of your right foot across towards your left wrist. The knees going through the window of your arm bones to bring you down towards a pigeon situation. So the back leg reaches, it's like a tail, right? Like an alligator's tail reaching way back. And then the sternum moves forward and up, chin lifts slightly. So an exquisite back bend on purpose. And then begin to fold over, like that out, over, and down. Walk to the left. So we did this walking to the left when we were doing bird dog. Put your spine on a lateral bend or a side bend. Come into pigeon over here. And then stay low to the ground and like walk your way to the middle so it becomes more traditional, like centered pigeon pose. And then angle to the right. And sometimes you have to walk back and like lift away from your knee, especially if you have especially if you have boobs, right? Let's just put it out there. So that you can kind of lay against your leg off to this right-hand side. But you gotta situate, right, what's happening in front. And then make your way back to center. And bring your forearms directly underneath you so you have the alignment of the creases of your elbows and the fronts of your shoulders. Tuck your back toes under, lift the knee back there, engaging left thigh muscle. And then press into the ground with your forearms and your hands and slide your right leg back to forearm plank, everybody's favorite. Dome the upper back. So think of pulling your chest away from your inner elbow creases. Reach the heels one way, the crown of the head the other. Stay enough breaths that you start to not like me very much. And then I'm starting to not like me very much. Take a full breath in. Exhale, lower the knees, come forward and down. Taking Sphinx pose, so untuck the toes, draw the elbows back, sternum forward, just like we did in pigeon when we were lifted and proud chested. Then lay the chest to the ground, slide your hands back to cobra, and take it into cobra or upward dog. So if you keep pressing, you might find upward facing. Exhale, hips go back into downward facing dog. Then raise your left leg up. Keep your hips level. So it extends from the hip, point your toes. From the bottom of the crease of your buttocks, reach through the big toe. Pull the knee forward underneath you, so you're flexing at your hip joint. Land your left foot through. Come to fingertips, gather in. And find your way to high lunge, gradually or in a move. Go back to that work we did on the first side where the arms go forward. You press into your imaginary wall and draw the ribs back. Then reach. Release forward, down, fingertips to ground. Keep the lunge of front leg, turn your back foot all the way down. Left hip holds in, elbow to thigh, right hand to hip. And you give yourself a little test. Is my left hip holding in? Can I float the bottom elbow up? Like I don't even need that thing. Then place it as like an accessory. Top arm reaching over, extended side angle. And this one or that one, you know, it's the same pose. Downward cast eyes as we transition. Inhale, pull back and come to standing. Let your back arm kind of drag your whole chest and shoulder girdle back so it's more over the pelvic girdle. And then Vira 2, Warrior 2. Straighten through left leg, hands to hips, all 10 toes facing same direction. And let's do the C version, the interlaced one. So breathe in, reach out. Breathe out, interlace. Inhale, chest and eyes up. Exhale, deep crease of the hips as you fold. Head hangs, angle the crown of the head to the ground. Take your arms for a little drag up and over. And crown of head may release towards the floor. And then while you're folded, touch ground. Hands press ground. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, we're pivoting left now. When you get there into lunge, heel toe, left foot across, way across, way across. Knee through the window frame of the arms, come down into pigeon, create alligator tail. And the pointing of your toes from the crease of your butt helps you to inform the lift of your sternum and the proudness of the chest. So strong legs equal freedom, freedom in the spine. And then take it up and over and walk to the right, angling out. A few breaths here with the side bend. And then stay low towards the floor, walk middle. So more traditional. And then to the left, if you have to back it up, so you can bring some clearance for the girls, bring some clearance by backing it up and then settling down in a way that you don't smush. And then back through the center. When you get there, you're laying your forearms like train tracks. Tucking right toes, elevating thigh and knee. And in a move, stepping back, forearm plank. Doming the upper back slightly, finding length. Right? Everything's awake here. Watch the head drop. It wants to. But pull the back of your skull up as if your hand is against it. And take one more breath. Lower the knees, untuck the toes, land yourself down into Sphinx and work the Sphinx. And let the chest start to settle. Slide your hands back along breastbone. Use breath to take you into a back bend. Strong legs, which creates freedom. Strong legs liberating your spine. Exhale, hips back. Downward facing dog. Then take breath in your down dog. And when you exhale, come through to seated. So you can crawl You can step or you can hop all the way through. Take the legs in front. And then bring yourself onto your back with knees bent, soles of the feet on the ground. We were here much earlier in class. We're not near Shavasana yet, so don't get too cozy. Okay. And create arms by your side, left leg long, it's active. Right knee up to 90. External rotation of your right knee, so we worked this. Bring the left knee up to 90. Catch the ankle against the lower thigh, so it's figure 4 on your back. Reach your arms to the ceiling, bending at your wrists. So instead of having a wall in front of us, we're imagining we're pushing the arms into the ceiling, drawing the rib cage back, and then curl up, head, neck, shoulder blades. See about connecting your triceps towards your shin bone. And if you can, bend your elbows. Keep your wrists bent. Breathe here. It's really hard, I know. Take one more breath. Straighten arms, lay head, neck, shoulders on the floor. Release the left foot, uncross the right leg, relax your arms. Yeah, so these things can be done on the back, and they can also be done from standing. We're back exploring now, and then we'll get to standing after. Go long legs, strong legs. Bring the left knee to 90. Create your external. Bring the right leg to 90. Catch ankle bone to thigh. Bring it in close without needing to use your arms to do that. Raise the roof, arms to ceiling. Extend your wrists. Peel up. So you push the floor, shoulder blades protract. Peel up. Can you get a lot of the shoulder blade off the ground? Can you hook triceps towards shin bone? Maybe you bend your elbows and explore that. One more breath, up, up, up. Reach the arms, settle head, neck, shoulder blades. Release right foot, uncross left leg, stretch long. Take a moment, gather and collect yourself. Bring your knees in, and when you do it, crisscross your ankles. Hands go into the pits of the knees and rock yourself up. Hands in front, legs step back to downward facing dog. Weight the legs. Then take breath all the way in. Exhale, crouch, look forward. Inhale, step or jump. Keep inhaling, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way, reaching. Exhale, bring yourself to mountain pose. Mountain pose of the feet at hips distance variety. So opening up. Okay, we did it laying down. You know we're going to try it standing up. Go hands to prayer. So as we move like closer into the body with the limbs, we gather into that center, that core strength. Okay. Bend your knees a tiny little bit so you're making the shallowest of shallow chair seats. Right. Like you're just resting your butt on the edge of a counter. And then cross, left, over, right. So if you lift the knee, externally rotate, land the ankle against the thigh. And then sit down even deeper. So you're starting to bring chest towards shin. If you cleared triceps against shin bone, maybe hands go to the floor. You can let your head hang at this point. Or place your hands a few inches out in front of you. Shift your weight into them. Bend your elbows. Keep your wrist angled. And pull your right heel up towards your butt. So So you get the beginnings of flying pigeon. Maybe right leg going up and back behind you. If you're up there, slowly come out of there. Come to the forward fold, keep the leg crossed. Bring your hands back to prayer, so finding the balance here. And then unhinging, unwinding, and uncrossing. Take a moment. Take a few breaths. Talking and doing of that is really difficult. I'm just going to put that out there. So the last piece of freedom in this one is the back leg. Whew, it just goes, right? It expresses itself in liberation. Come to your hands together in prayer, bend your knees, butt resting on the edge of the counter, shallow chair. And then raise your right knee, so it's got a bend in it. Externally rotate as best you can, then hook ankle. And you've got the lower figure 4 happening. Then you sit. You sit and you lean. And perhaps fingertips brush ground, head hangs. Or you place the hands not directly underneath you, but forward so you have somewhere to go, somewhere to lean into. Hook the outer right ankle around the outside of the left arm. See about pulling your left heel up. And then in a huge expression of freedom, liberate the back leg. Up, back, behind you. And when you're ready, slowly come out, come into the forward fold of it all. Hands together in prayer. Unhinge, uncross. Take it into ragdoll. Passive, hanging, breathing. So that's a lot of closing the front body, right? Making the front body very short. Take yourself to a downward dog. And then explore coming forward to plank. Lowering the knees, coming all the way down. Root the legs, free the upper spine. Cobra a couple times. Use your breath to move you in and out of it. So the inhale is the lift and the curl. And the exhale is the forward and the settling. And once you're back to chest against the ground or front body against the ground, go elbows wide to the sides where you stack your hands on top of each other. And bring your forehead to rest on the back of your hand. I'm going to keep my head raised just because my sound quality will get really muffled if I put my own head down. So I'll just instruct you through this. Check your legs that they're not like a huge wide V, but they're situated at your own hips distance apart. And then keep the top of your left foot on the floor. So you're keeping left toes untucked. Bend your right knee. Ankle is flexed, heel is reaching towards the ceiling. And then press your thigh bone into the ground. So push front thigh into floor, keeping the heel pulling towards your butt. And imagine that you didn't even have the floor there underneath you. You could like pull your right knee towards your nose, just like we do when we're in our down dog trying to step forward. And no doubt the front of your hip will lift away from the ground, but just keep that work of pressing your thigh into the ground, keeping your knee bent. And then go the other way where you press your hip into the floor and try to float your thigh bone up away from the floor. So you'll feel the bony landmark of your front hip against the ground. Clear the thigh as best you can, lifting it. Then lower thigh bone to floor, straighten the right leg. Toes are untucked, they're pointed back behind you. Try the left side, left knee bends, so your ankle is in its dorsiflexion pattern. And you're driving left thigh into the floor. You'll feel the front of your left hip lift. Keep working to pull your heel towards your butt too, so the hamstring doesn't go to sleep. And just keep yourself in that downward push for a couple of breaths. Right, and this whole thing about like, okay, when there's resistance and when we finally get to the other side of that resistance, there's that feeling of levity or of freedom. Now you create that. Hip point presses into the ground. Free up the thigh bone to lift. With buoyancy, it comes up. And hold it up there. And it's hovering. And then land it and let it stretch long. Then lift your head off of your hands. Bring your arms along the sides of you with your palms facing up. So the shoulder heads will be lifted off of the mat. Press into the hands. Lift the shoulders even more. Press into the hip points. Liberate your legs up off the floor. Press into the hands. Lift the shoulders a little more. Press into the pelvis, lift your thigh bones a little more. Stay here or interlace the hands behind you and fly into locust. So think of stretching longer from pubic bone to sternum. And then long from the bottom of the crease of your butt out through your big toes. One more breath. And let it all go. Turn your cheek to the floor. Take a couple breaths. Sometimes the shimmy thing feels good where you just shift your weight. You just jiggle side to side on purpose. Hands by your breastbone. Recoup in child's pose. Stretch back. And then rise, hands and knees, so a shifting forward. Swing your legs all the way around you. Take them in front of your body. And when you get them in front of you, go to half cross-legged with your left leg. And then wiggle the left foot underneath so it's more outside of your right hip. And then stack your right knee on top of your left. So going into this Gomukhasana shape. And find a way to weight the sitting bones, so to make them like cement or like heavy, like anvils. And then fingertips to the ground, find vertical through the spine. And then invitation to walk forward any amount. And keep hips weighty, like cemented. Use inhale, lengthen, and as you exhale, rise back up to vertical. So let's do something strange with this pose. Bring your right hand around your body to your sacrum. Bring your left arm across your body, palm is facing out, fingertips against the floor. Inhale, find up. And exhale, twist. So we're taking Gomukhasana, we're rotating our cow faces. Right, turning this into a twist. Still heavy in the pelvis. Use in-breath, eyes forward, chin forward. Exhale and unwind yourself. So right knee's on top of left. Lean back, open the legs like a V. And see if you can recross where left is over right. And feel free to lift up, slide your shin bones farther apart, and then sit down in the space between the heels. And take a moment to just let gravity, like hunker you down. And once gravity's settled you, then fingertips and spine resist gravity. It finds up. And then with the length, invitation to go forward. And use your in-breath to lengthen and exhale to come back to vertical in the spine. Then left hand goes behind onto the inverted triangle of sacrum. Right arm is cast across, palm is out, fingertips grounded. Inhale, find up. You're probably leaning a little forward. It's totally cool. Exhale, turn to the left. Shift the chin back. So take your cow and wring it out. And inhaling, eyes forward, and exhaling to unwind. Uncross your legs, take them like a V into Upavista Konasana. Knees might be bent to keep your pelvis in its neutral or more straight up and down vertical position. Take a walk forward. How far? Maintain the length. If the length starts to go bye-bye, then you've walked a little too far forward. Right? So it might mean you're a third into the pose. It might mean you're half, right? Half folded. Lengthen out of the sacrum. Use breath in, elongate, exhale, and come up. Now bring yourself to two roughly 90-degree angles through your legs, where your heels are about 5 inches apart, but your toes are turned out. So you have a large diamond formation in the legs. And this is not a straight spine position, right? We're going to round on purpose. Find up. And then like you're hanging over a barrel, like over and down. So you drape yourself and you're allowing for rounding. And you can't even imagine that there's like a small barrel underneath you and you're just folded and hanging right over that thing. And use breath in, no need to lengthen, just breathe it in. And exhale, come all the way up. Okay, 2 more iterations of this. Now, your knees are as wide as your shoulders or even wider. Your big toes are on the floor, so you've got this V of your lower legs. And it's the same barrel drape. So inhale, reach up. Exhale, cast out. And hang over. Now, some of you are going to stay just like you are. And if you'd like to come along on a little exploration with me, you can try the next thing, which is to tuck your arms underneath your legs, back behind you. So the fingertips will be reaching more back and off to the sides than forward at all. And you try to sneak yourself back with your arms so that your elbows clear your knees, right? So your elbows have reached through the knees. And you can explore that. The next variation would be to lift your toes, so you're on your heel skin, and push your legs forward into Upavista, chin to the floor, rounded. So it becomes Kurmasana, more like the turtle pose. When you're ready to come out, it's a whole thing, especially if your arms are through your legs. So bend your knees, pull one arm out at a time, please, and then make your way up and out of that rounded position. Turn yourself sideways on your mat if you were facing the same direction I was, and come onto your back. When you get there, bring the right knee in, slide your left leg long. While you're holding your right shin tightly, move your right ankle clockwise, circular pattern several times. Then counterclockwise several times. And relax that effort, half happy baby. Pinky toe side of right foot in right hand, with option to extend the leg out to the side, so a straightening or a more straightening through the knee joint. If you went more towards straight, bend the right knee back to half happy baby. And release your right leg long. And then I'd like you to put your hands on your hip bones and just notice what side feels lower. So is there a side of the pelvis that feels a little more dropped? So you may be feeling crooked here. So right side has weighted, right? It's cemented. Let's switch. Bring left knee into you, hold the shin tightly, and clockwise with the left ankle. And then counter. And then relax that half happy baby, pinky toe side of left foot in left hand. Option to extend the leg off any amount. Coming back to a bent knee. Releasing the leg long. Hands on the hip points. Hopefully noticing a level quality now. Both sides of the pelvis have settled. And then slide your hands to your belly and close your eyes. Exhale until you're empty, so the sponge gets wrung. And then inhale for 5, 4, keep filling up, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath inside of you. And exhale in 2 parts, so half, then pause, then the rest, all of it. From empty, again breathing in, this time 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding it in so you're a container and you're full. And then exhale, set half of it free. Pause. And set the rest free. One last round. This time, 7. Inhaling, 6, 5. Filling up, 4, 3, 2, 1. A full container. The cup runneth over. Hold. And exhale, half. Pause. And set the rest free all the way. Let your arms rest by your side. Breathe the natural rhythm as you shake your legs a little bit. Shake your wrists and arms a little bit. Just kind of diffusing any tension in the body. And then allow yourself to settle the weight of gravity working over the bones, the muscles, the connective tissue, the skin, the organs, everything surrendering. And a spontaneous rhythm of breath. Begin to hone your awareness back to the experience of breathing. And then the experience of movement in fingers and toes. And then the experience of freedom through the limbs to reach and extend and stretch in all directions. Bend your knees one at a time. Make your way onto one side. And from there, press into the ground and bring yourself up to seated. Close your eyes, hands together. And may the merits of this practice that we've done here today benefit all beings everywhere. Namaste.